They say Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport, a raw, unfiltered battle where the fastest minds and machines collide. But what happens when even the fiercest drivers are told to keep their mouths shut? In Jeddah, Max Verstappen did what he always does. He fought like hell. He crossed the line. He gave everything. And then, when the microphones came out, he paused. He looked down. And he said, "I have to be careful what I say. I might get into trouble." Let that sink in. The most dominant driver of this generation, the face of Formula One, scared to speak. This isn't just about racing. This is about fear. This is about censorship. And this might be the moment everything changes. If you believe F1 should be emotional, rebellious, and brutally honest, then hit subscribe right now, because what's happening behind the scenes is far more dangerous than any crash on track. And today, we're exposing it. It started like any other Grand Prix weekend, with tension, adrenaline, and a grid full of giants. As the lights went out in Jeddah, Verstappen surged forward, elbows out, full commitment into turn 1. There was contact, aggressive, maybe even reckless, but it was racing. Until the stewards dropped the hammer, a 5-second penalty. Now penalties happen, that's racing. But this one felt different. Christian Horner called it excessive. Pundits couldn't justify it. Even rivals questioned the logic. But what came after the checkered flag sent chills through the paddock. Verstappen, known for his raw, unapologetic honesty, was asked for his take, and his response was quiet, calculated, fearful. "I have to be careful what I say. I might get into trouble." Let that sink in. Max Verstappen, a 3-time world champion, afraid to speak his mind. The question is, what exactly is he afraid of? Behind the scenes, the FIA has been tightening its grip, not on lap times, not on technical regulations, but on voices. Under the radar, they've implemented rules so severe that any public criticism, any statement that paints the FIA in a negative light, can result in massive fines, point deductions, or even race bans. The number? Up to €120,000 for a single quote. Imagine being a driver, exhausted, heart-pounding, emotions raw after a controversial finish, and instead of speaking your truth, you have to run every word through a mental filter, calculating the cost of honesty. The FIA says it's about protecting the sport's image, but I ask you, what kind of image are we protecting when our champions are being silenced like criminals? Formula One was built on passion, rebellion, and boldness. Are we now watching the beginning of its sterilization? Stick with me, because what the drivers are saying privately makes this even darker. You won't find it in interviews and you won't hear it on team radio. But behind closed doors, the discontent is real, and it's growing. Some drivers have started whispering about it, in the motorhomes, in off-camera moments, and through carefully chosen words that walk the line between defiance and survival. There's talk of monitored communications, of briefings that sound more like warnings. One driver, unnamed for obvious reasons, reportedly said, "We're not racing in a championship anymore. We're performing in a scripted show." The fear is creeping in. And here's the terrifying part. Once fear takes hold, passion follows it out the door. We lose the fire, the raw emotion, the chaos, the rivalries that make this sport unforgettable. Tell me, is that the Formula One you signed up for? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the next move the FIA makes might silence the entire grid. Imagine the 2026 season, a new crop of talent, a grid filled with fierce competitors. But every driver, from rookies to world champions, speaks like a marketing intern at a press conference. Yeah, it was unfortunate. The stewards made their call. We respect the decision. No fire, no fight. And the fans? We become spectators of a show that pretends to be sport. The FIA says they're protecting F1's reputation, but they're not. They're draining it of everything that makes it alive. But what if the drivers push back? What if Verstappen's silence was just the calm before a storm? You'll want to stick around, because I've heard whispers of what's coming. This sport was built on the backs of legends who didn't just drive fast. They spoke up. Ayrton Senna, who went to war with officials for the soul of the sport. Niki Lauda, who fought back from fire and political games. And now, Verstappen. Maybe this moment will define him, not as the fastest driver of his generation, but as the first to say, enough. This fight isn't just on track. It's here, in the comments, in your voice, in this community. So tell me, do you stand with Max? Do you stand for freedom in F1? Or are we okay watching this sport become a polished puppet show for sponsors and silence? Hit that subscribe button, not just for more videos, but to take a stand. Because if we stay quiet, we lose the sport we love.